So I was in the pool thinking about the rotation of the spine. And, as you swim, freestyle or backstroke or whatever stroke you do in the pool, this kind of steady rotation of the spine is such a beautiful thing. And we experience it not just swimming, but walking, doing so many of our repetitive left, right movement patterns, which have so much benefit for our brain health, for our physical health. But specifically, when it comes to the rotation of the spine, I think if we keep our spine as mobile as possible, obviously this is a really good thing. But in particular, kind of in relation to the breath work we were doing the other day, when we have a twist, we have this capacity to like when you squeeze a rag, when you have that rotation, you get to squeeze the spine. And this is a beautiful thing in relation to the breath. So when we inhale, there's this capacity to have this um, you're just filling your lungs. And when you exhale and twist at the same time, there's just a deepening, not only in the rotation of your vertebrae, but also in the capacity to fully exhale. So when the other day when we were working with the straws and we were doing that long exhale, and we kind of got into that comfortable place of recognizing how beautiful it is to have a long exhale. Today we're going to kind of take that out of the passivity and into the activity of working with the exhale to help us rotate, and using rotation to help us with the exhale, and to kind of just explore the relationship between the two. So, as always, whenever we're doing a twisting practice, seated twists are the hardest on your vertebrae, supine, lying on your back. Twists are the easiest on your vertebrae, and then standing twists like Parsva Tanasana, or Pavrita Parsva, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say Sanskrit. Revolve triangle pose. Um, when we're horizontal to the ground in that posture, this is also pretty neutralizing for the spine. So when we get, as we go, if we do some seated ones, be very mindful in the seated twists to keep that alignment of buoyancy in your spine, so we're not just compressing. We want our spinal twists to be healthy and nourishing for us, not depleting or irritating to the spinal nerves. Okay. All right, so let's find a comfortable way to be. And sitting up on a cushion or on a block or whatever your support system is. And just take a moment to drop your awareness down in your body. All right, so maybe you've had a busy morning. Maybe you hit the ground running. Maybe you've had a slow morning. Whatever your day has held so far, bring yourself into the peace and quiet of the inner world, the inner body, the breath. And even if we're not using a straw like we did yesterday to facilitate that long exhale, and by the way, you can always just have your straw nearby if you'd like to do straw breathing anytime. But let's focus on that natural flow of the exhale. Look for that bounce of the diaphragm again, where we inhale from the movement of the diaphragm, inviting our breath instead of pulling on our musculature. Okay, so let the breath fill in a very beautiful, healthy, and easy way where we're not straining or forcing the breath. Melt your shoulders. Check in with the alignment of your spine and see if you can have a sense of buoyancy through your vertebrae or the discs between your vertebrae. Imagine that, you have a bike tire air pump, like a way to just plump up those discs so that you have a lot of spaciousness between your vertebrae. letting yourself kind of float upward. Lots of room for your spinal column inside those vertebrae, and also lots of room for all the nerve roots that come away from your spine, out through the sides, the holes between your vertebrae. Try to have your crown over your tail and your shoulders slightly back. Check in with the support systems of your core and the shoulder blades. See if you can melt any tension you feel through your hip flexors, letting your legs get grounded. And then when you feel ready, let's bring our hands to our heart. And one more time, find a breath in and let the exhale be slow and steady. And in this mudra of concentration and focus, let's set an intention. Release your hands and let's find our way onto our back. All right, so as you stretch out, what a gift it is to have some time to take care of yourself, to be in your practice. So let's enjoy. Okay, don't ever forget to enjoy. And then stretch your arms overhead, stretch your legs, and just come into a nice little movement pattern here of waking one side and waking the other. As you stretch through one side, let your hips come offline, hiking one hip up and stretching the other away. All right, and then come to put your feet on the ground for a moment. Bring your arms down at your sides and just feel into that neutrality of your pelvis. Have a breath here. Notice your spine on the ground. Notice how your body tends to weight itself. So, do your two halves of your pelvis feel symmetrical or no? And it's okay if the answer is no, just kind of pay attention. And then bring your knees into your chest and just rock a little bit, a bit of a sway. Give your nervous system a cue that all is well and you can relax. Hang on to the knees and let's circle, kind of rolling your knees a little bit one way and rolling your knees a little bit another way. And then open up your knees away and see if you can sense into that symmetry or asymmetry that you feel in your pelvis. Just notice what your range is with your hip joints here. Does it feel good to open them up? Are you sore at all? Do you have any snaps or cracks or pops as you do this? And then right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's move around in your ankles. Wiggle your toes, get your feet to wake up and open up, warming up a lot of the tissues that support us when we're standing. Notice your head, see if you can melt, and see if you can feel that spaciousness of your spine. Okay, let's switch sides, left knee in, right leg long on the ground. Enjoy a nice compression in the hip. Keep moving around in your feet. Maybe just some simple flexes and points or foints, whatever feels good. Again, noticing if your head wants to lift, if your shoulders want to lift, see if you can melt. And then bring both knees into your chest. Give a little bit of a hug. And we'll grab onto our feet and come into a happy baby pose. Drop your knees gently down toward the ground. Feel the length of your spine and see if you can, instead of rounding your back a whole lot, dip the bottom of your tail down toward the ground so that the compression really lands in your hip joints and not in your low back. All right, and then release your legs, stretch to a star out there in space. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and then draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug. And repeat twice more, finding that mobilization of so many joints as you open up, and as you exhale, you close up. Okay. Breathing deeply. All right, and then release your head back down onto the ground, arms out to the sides, and let's rock a little bit left and right with our knees. So we're just inviting a little beginning twisting in the body, kind of warming up the two halves of the pelvis in this way. And then to get a little deeper into the spine itself, when you bring your knees over to the left, pick up your right knee and just swing it a little bit further over to the side and just kind of going back and forth, a little knee kick in one direction and then the other. So we're just kind of inviting the twist to go a little higher in our vertebrae. And again, noticing that we're not staying in the twist, we're just mobilizing the spine here a little bit. All right, and then come back to neutral. Grab your block and stick it between your knees or thighs, whichever width feels comfy to you. Ground the four corners of your feet and let's stabilize through the pelvis. Maybe put your hands on the fronts of your hip bones so you just are very aware of any movement that's happening and kind of sensing left and right symmetry as best as you can. With your inhale, relax away from the block a little bit, and as you exhale, hug the block. So we're just kind of waking up that stability in our pelvis. Ground your feet. So a lot of times when we hug the block on the exhale, the outer feet want to lift. Stay rooted in the outer feet as you hug the block. And this will just recruit just a little bit more real estate in your body for stabilization. Try not to rush the breath. We're just kind of queuing up some strength in our pelvis. All right, and then relax that. Take the block away. Stretch to a star again. A big breath. Knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug, and we'll roll to our side to come up to your hands and your knees. Okay. Finding all fours. Let's start to move our way into some cat-cow. So arching and rounding the spine. Taking your time to feel your vertebrae, to feel your breath. Pay very close attention to each vertebrae. See if you can you can even slow-mo this a little bit so you really can sense each of your vertebrae, finding some spaciousness as you kind of warm up the spine in flexion and extension. Pay attention to the pressure of your hands and your shins on the ground. Is it even? Left and right sides? Do you have tendency to bear weight more in one limb than the other? All right, and then when you feel ready, feel free to wag your tail. Feel free to move around in your vertebrae. Any direction you feel is good. And then drop back into a child's pose. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Feel the reaching through your body. A deep breath in, a deep breath out. Stretch through one side, so walk the hands to one side or the other. So we're opening up our shoulder, but also pay attention to opening up the ribs and opening up the spinal column. So see if you can get the lateral bend to not just be about waking the shoulder. Right, go the other direction. Finding that stretch through your side. Again, finding it, see if you can sense your vertebrae opening up little windows on the sides. And come back to center. Come back up onto all fours. Give your spine some good movement here. Wag your tail back and forth. Swim like a fish in the sea. So kind of that lateral movement may not feel supernatural, but just imagine the way you see a fish swim and let your spine do that. All right, and then let's find a full twist. So our first deep twist here, reach the arm up, and then we'll exhale and drop that shoulder underneath. Pay attention to where the vertebrae and the ribs join. Find those joints. Breathe into each of those joints as best as you can. All right, and then inhale, reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground, and we'll switch sides. Think about all the ways that rotation in your spine is so important through your day. Putting your seatbelt on, reaching behind you to turn and go backwards in your car, and being able to rotate to put things away in your house, feeling like you can reach things that are across your body on the other side. There's so many subtle ways that we twist that aren't just about that left, right of the way we walk. And then go ahead and reach that arm all the way back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground and we'll find our first dog pose. Now, as you come into this posture, see if you can sense into that symmetry that we had when we were on the ground, or just noticing if we have it. Don't worry if you don't feel symmetrical, but just pay attention to how your body feels left and right in balance or not. Are you grounding evenly through your limbs? And then take a little bit of time to start pedaling the feet and starting to feel, even though our spine isn't rotating, we're getting a little bit of that left and then right, and then left and then right. So that we have that sensing of ping-ponging from one hemisphere of the body to the other. All right. Ground yourself here in your dog pose. Steady yourself, root to rise. And then we're going to come back down onto all fours. Okay. Give your hands a little shake if you need. You know, if being on your hands is hard, you can always be on fists or blocks. All right, take your left leg straight back behind you, pulse a couple of times, and then integrate that right arm out in front of you, thumb up. Right, toes down. Feel that cross hemisphere work in the body. Starting to let the mind reach into oppositional forces instead of symmetry. Deep breath in. Exhale underneath you with your arm and leg. Inhale, bring it out. Exhale, bring it in. Bring it out. Bring it in. And put that hand and knee down onto the ground, and we'll switch sides. Right leg up, pulse a few times, make sure your glutes and your hamstrings are both working. Press your left shin into the ground, use your core, reach that left arm out in front of you, find that asymmetry, and notice what your mind does with asymmetry. See if you can enjoy, the balancing through oppositional forces. Deep breath in. As you exhale, elbow and knee. Accentuate the breath. A big breath in as you stretch out, and a long exhale as you bring it in. One more time. And then we'll have the hands down onto the ground. Before we move up into a dog pose, let's just move our ribs one more time, kind of opening up some of this spaciousness. So rib cage rolls, ribs off to the side, down to the bottom, off to the other side, up to the top. See if you can put yourself inside a tube and you're painting broad swaths with your rib cage on the inside of the tube. Notice the connection of breath, of rib movement, and of spinal movement. And go the other direction. Just kind of warming up our rib cage, our thoracic spine, and noticing how the breath incorporates into these patterns. All right, back to a child's pose. Stretch through your arms. Feel that sense of symmetry. One more time, we're dropping into some weight into our pelvis. All right. Lift all the way up to a dog pose. Feeling that extension in your body again. Enjoy. Maybe you like to pedal here again. Maybe you're enjoying stillness. So whatever feels good to your body. Breathing well. And then walk your feet forward, coming to Uttanasana. And perhaps you like blocks for your hands. Soften through your skull, relax as best as you can. Breathing deeply. Inhale for a halfway lift, opening up through the body, feeling that extension here. And then melting to fold again. Relax your head. One more time, a halfway lift, sense into symmetry. Feel the reaching of your spine. Exhale long and steady. Push through your feet, rising up, bringing the arms upward to the sky. Take your time. Full breaths here. Let's lean back on your in-breath. See if you can get some cactus arms to spread your wings. And then exhale, round and chin, chest. One more time. Opening up through your ribs. Spread your wings, feel the back body. And then exhale, coming in. Bring your palms together. Pause here for a moment. Full breaths. Rounding through your feet. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, floating forward, sensing into that symmetry. Inhale for a halfway lift, opening up through the spine. Exhale to melt a little deeper. Step the left foot back, come to a lunge this side to notice asymmetry now. Okay. Opening up through the heart, let's find our breath. As we exhale, straightening the leg. And as we inhale, bending through your knee. What does it feel like? Maybe your breath wants to be in a different pattern than that, and that's great. You just keep breathing. No matter what, we're breathing. Okay, place your back knee down onto the ground. Find your breath. You're gonna reach up, hand on your knee perhaps, and reach the left arm up in the air. Maybe your hand is on a block. You decide, laterally bend just a bit. And then we'll take that forearm or elbow or hand to our knee and twist, turning to the right. Drop the shoulders, stay stable with your legs. Hug to the midline, push down so that we're not sinking and falling. Use your core a little bit to support the length of your spine as you twist open. Right. And then come back to center. Lift your back knee up off the ground. Ground yourself through your legs one more time. Push through your feet, rising up for a crescent lunge. Extend and open up through your body. Enjoy this pose. We're gonna come down, bring your left hand onto a block or ground, your decision about how high you are. And we're going to do some rolling twists here. So as we swing the right arm back like a big backstroke stroke, we want to make sure we're not just moving our shoulder around, right? We're rotating the spine, moving the ribs, and finding the breath. Start to link up what it feels like to move with breath. And then the next time we get up there, pause in this pose, drop the shoulders away from the ears, long spine. Keep engaging and lifting that back leg. And then release the hands down. Back foot comes forward, folding deeply, finding that symmetry. So we're, getting nice and warmed up in the twisting vibes now. Inhale for a halfway lift. Opening up through your spine, symmetry. Notice it when you have it. Notice it when you don't. Long exhales. Step back with your right foot. Ground yourself. All right, we'll start to move when you're ready. Bending and straightening the front knee. Keeping the hips nice and square. Okay. Where do you want to inhale? Where do you want to exhale? It's less important where, more important just that you're doing it. Okay. Notice those long exhales. Lay your knee down onto the ground. Enjoy this hip flexor stretch. And when you're ready, we'll come on up. Reach that right arm to the sky. A little bit of an arcing over if it feels good. And think less about smushing and more about rising. Press into the feet, find your stability in your legs, and then we'll find a twist. So forearm or elbow or hand on your knee, twisting left. Pay attention to your legs. Hug to the midline, press down. Use that press to rise through your spine and keep space between your vertebrae. Notice your breathing. And we'll come back to center. Lift your back knee up off the ground. Root your feet well. Inhale to rise up into crescent lunge. Now, when you're in this posture, pay attention to your legs, root down, and give that feedback of the ground into your spine. So it's so nice to root so our spine can rise up out of our pelvis. How's your breath? We'll come into the twist, so you can have your hand on a block, you can have your hand on the ground, whatever feels right to you. Again, we're not just flinging our arm around, we're rotating the spine. Let your head follow the hand. Find your breath. Feel the groundedness of your legs. And pause there at the top. Find your twist. Hug to the midline. See if you can stay grounded, square in your pelvis. All right, and then we'll come back to a dog pose. Take that left foot back. Find symmetry. Maybe even take your feet wider. Make lots of room for your breath. And then we'll come forward into a plank, shoulders away from the ears, root down through the ground, integrate into the core of you. And then we'll put our knees down onto the ground and find the earth. Inhale for a cobra. Again, symmetry, notice. Exhale, melting back down. One more time. Come up onto all fours. Actually, go back into child's pose for a moment. Give your hands a little shake. We're going to be on our hands for just a moment here. So give them a shake. And then when you're ready, come to all fours. Okay. All right, now you can choose to do this on your knees. You can also choose to do this on your feet, like a plank. Okay, so if you're on your knees, we're going to take our right leg in the air, and we're going to draw our right knee up toward our armpit, and you can take a look at your knee and then bring it back, keeping it up in the air. If you're going to do this in a plank, feet are on the ground, and we're going to bring our knee up and then bring our hips or our foot back. Okay, so do 3 or 4 or 5 on each side. And if you prefer going alternate left, right, that's great. If you prefer really honing in on one side, that's great too. So your choice of how you do it. You can draw it in, find your breath. We're just waking up the obliques in this way. And depending on whatever you did on one side, make sure you find equal on the other side. And just kind of waking up the rhythm of breathing with the engagement of our muscles. So exhaling as you bring the knee in, inhaling as you bring it back. And then once you find symmetry, come down and rest in child's pose again. You can take a little swish through your wrists. Then we're going to come onto our back. So as you come to lie down, I'm just going to wake up the obliques just a little bit more, and then we'll come up to stand. Okay, so feet on the ground. So we're going to do 2 different things here. First, take your hands behind your head like a sit-up. And remember, your hands are a pillow for your head. They are not pulling on your head. It's just a rest for your head so your neck can be at ease in these postures. Okay. First, we're going to lift our shoulder blades up off the ground. Bottom tips of shoulder blades are engaged. Actually, come back down for a minute. Now, notice symmetry in your pelvis all the way through to your feet. If you feel like you need a little extra stability, you can always put a block between your knees to do this so that you stay stable, pelvis to feet. Come back up, okay, and we're going to bring our elbow toward our hip and then back to center and the elbow toward the other hip. So we're not twisting, we're laterally bending. We're remembering that our obliques are in charge of lateral bending and twisting. So we're just kind of getting some strength built up in here. Notice the engagement of your breath. Exhale as you compress to one side. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the other side. How are your legs and hips feeling? The head is resting on the pillow. All right, and then once you're ready to be done with that, we'll rest there. Okay, pause for a moment. And now you can do this with bent knees or straight legs. Okay, so we're going to bring our head behind us. Okay, if you're going to do, our head behind us, your hands behind your head, sorry. If you're going to do the straight leg version, we're going to have our legs straight up in the air, and we're going to drop one foot down as we twist the other way and bring that foot back up, and then switching sides. And if you're going to do the bent leg version, your knees are bent, and we're going to straighten one leg out as we twist. Okay, so you can straighten your left leg as you bring your left chest toward your right knee and back to center. So no matter which position you're choosing with your legs, we're now moving into that rotation And our spine is not doing a deep rotation here. What we're doing is waking up the twisting muscles. So our obliques on the sides of our body are responsible for our capacity to twist. Before you start, just rest for just a moment while I say this. The when we exhale, if we can harness the exhale when we're engaging our obliques, this will help us in the twisting postures we're about to do. So focus on that now. When, regardless of the position of your legs, when you come into the twist, exhale. When you come back to center, inhale. Okay, so you do you with the legs. Focus on your breath. Remember, your head is on a pillow. We're not pulling on our head. Think more about your chest rotating than your elbow turning. So it's really trying to get the sides of the body to find their movement. How are you lining up your breath with your movements? Is the exhale coming on the twist and the inhale when you find neutral? All right, so probably you started, well, I'm not sure which way you started, but whatever way you started, finish on the other side and put your feet on the ground. Notice symmetry. You can always hug a block again if you'd like. All right, let's stretch to a star, reaching your limbs broadly out there. And then draw your knees into your chest, roll to your side. We did this pose yesterday. Sit for a moment on your right or left sit bone. Legs are off to the right, hands on the ground. Lean to the side a little bit and just twist here. Feel a full deep inhale and a long exhale. Okay, coming back to center, scoot your feet over to the other side. We're bearing more weight into our right hip, so we're not trying to be balanced here. We're trying to, we're moving to one side. Put your hands on the ground next to you and twist the spine. Breathe deeply into the ribs. Notice those intercostal muscles. Notice your obliques. Okay, come back to center. Come up onto all fours. Find your way into a cat-cow. Arching and rounding. Curl your toes under. Lift up to a dog pose. Feeling that extension in your side bodies. Lengthen heart to hips. Get your vertebrae long. Walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana, a forward fold. Relax your head. See if you can waterfall your spine and get lots of space. Inhale for a halfway lift. Notice all the awakening in your legs. Root down, sit bones high. And then relax. Push through your feet, rising up. Take your hands down, heart to your heart. Again, finding that sense of symmetry. Notice if your side bodies are awake and alive. All right, so take a shorter stance. We're not in a full lunge, Parsvottanasana, not at legs. We're in pyramid pose. Hands on your hips. Extend. See if you can feel that lifting of the front spine, zipping up a zipper from your pubic bone to the front of your throat. And then as you exhale and come forward, reach a little bit. When you're ready, you can bring your hands onto your blocks. Square your pelvis. Widen your sit bones. Organize your legs and your hips we're moving toward revolved triangle pose. So just kind of sense into what you know you'll need for that posture. Enjoy the spaciousness of your vertebrae here. All right, and then push through your feet. We'll rise up. Bring the arm up to, actually both arms up to the sky, and walk your back foot forward. Pause for a moment. And we'll do that same prep before our Parsvakonasana, or Parsvottanasana on the other side. So feet down. The stance is shorter, okay? So it's not a long lunge stance. Left foot's in front, hands on hips. Feel the zipping up. Lift all the way. Find the vertebrae lifting and extending. Root through your feet. And then extend forward. Ground yourself. Core is supporting you. Your legs are working hard for this posture. And then we'll come and bring our hands down onto the blocks. So try not to fall. Okay, so once we have support, we don't want to give up everything we just gained. So the spine stays spacious, the core is engaged. Root through the four corners of both feet. Even though there's asymmetry, can you feel a sense of balance between the two halves of your pelvis? We're square in our hips. How's the breath? Such a good hamstring stretch. Enjoy that. All right, and then push through your feet and rise up, back foot forward again. One more time, arms up. And then bring our hands down. Grab a block and stick it between your thighs and come to a chair pose just to experience this sense of symmetry where we're stable in our pelvis. You can keep your hands down or bring them up for a traditional posture, your choice. Breathing deeply. And then come up onto your toes. Just throw a little balance in there. And then heels down onto the ground, and we'll release the block. So we're going to move into revolved triangle pose, Pavrita Trikonasana. So if you know that you like to have some height underneath you, have your block stack, kind of on the left side of your mat. And sometimes I have one block, sometimes I have two. It just kind of depends on the day and how my spine is feeling. Okay, so right foot is in front, decide at your props. If you know you struggle with keeping your pelvis square, try taking your right foot out to the right a little bit more. Give yourself a wider base. Not only will this help you feel more stable, but it'll give you a little more maneuverability to keep the pelvis where it needs to be. Reach the left arm up in the air, maybe the teeniest bit of back bend here. And then start to come forward, reaching and extending. Have your hand come to rest on whatever block prop you've created for yourself. Now that you're down here, you might be like, oh, I could go a little deeper. Nope, I need a little more height. Find what you need. Before you twist, inner thighs rolling back, wide sit bones. Lift the tail just a bit so you're in that slight anterior tilt of the pelvis. Reach your spine. Ground your legs. And then we're going to incrementally, instead of flinging the arm up and trying to follow what the arm's doing, keep your hand on your hip. And we're going to incrementally let the breath, the exhales, take us deeper into the twist. Full breath in. Exhale, twist. Lots of diaphragmatic movement, lots of rib cage movement. Let your obliques guide the strength. And then when you feel ready, you can bring your arm up in the air. And maybe there's a little adjustments that need to be made with your feet or your shoulders or your hips. Full breaths here. Ground through your big toes. Long spine. Let the breath take you where you're going. The exhales and the obliques take you into the twist. All right, come back to neutral, and you decide, do you want a dog pose? Do you want an Uttanasana?
Do you want to come into a squat? Do you want a child's pose? Do you want to stand up? You know, what feels nourishing to you to release from that pose? Right, and then when we're ready, we'll all come up to stand, reach the arms up high, and we'll take our right foot back, left foot is in front. Our block stack is now on the right side of our mat, on the inside edge of that left foot. Okay, hands on the hips to begin. Ground yourself. Feel the roots of your feet. And when you're ready, reach upward through the right arm. Maybe a little smidge of a back bend, just so you're sure to get all that length through the front body. And then as we come forward, reach forward. Feel the spine stay long. So remember, we're floating those vertebrae. Ground through your feet, inner spiral your thighs, wide sit bones, and an anterior tilt to the pelvis. Square your hips, stretch your spine, root your feet. Once you have the stability of the pose, then we'll start to use the breath to and obliques to twist us. As you go, you might find that you need to readjust some things. Just let your body find where it wants to be in space. Let your arm reaching to the sky come at the end, okay? Instead of at the beginning, let it come at the end of your twist so that your breath is really the guiding force. Your obliques on the exhales, strengthening into the twist. Don't forget your legs. Keep all that stability. Finding your breath. And then when you're ready to come out, bring your hands back down. Everybody to a dog pose. Wide, wide legs. Turn your toes in. Toes are at the edges of your mat. A big breath here. And then find neutral feet. Come forward into a plank. Ground yourself. Turn your navel to the right. Back to center. Turn your navel to the left. Back to center. Lower yourself to the ground. Take your hands underneath your forehead. Take your legs wide on the mat. So big toes touching the edges of the mat. Take a breath and lift both legs. Toes are pointing down. And then exhale and release. This time, second time, we're going to turn our legs out. So kind of rock onto the inner kneecaps a little bit. Head stays down. And as you lift from your hips, our legs are turned out. Notice symmetry as best as you can, find that. Breathing. And then relax. Bring your knees back to neutral. Pick up your feet and windshield wiper your knees. All right, bring your left knee up high toward your armpit. Walk the right arm over to the left and roll open to a more passive twist. Enjoy this in your spine. Still, our breath can take us deeper. Come back to center. Switching sides, other knee up. We'll cross the left arm over and roll open. Full breath in. Long exhale to twist. All right, come back to center. Come up onto all fours. Wiggle around in your spine. We've got one more twist to do. Come back into child's pose. Sense into that symmetry in your body. All right. Come up to sit on the edge of a blanket. And there's just so many wonderful, amazing twists. I think it's really important. I try to make sure that we incorporate at least a couple of twists every single practice. Um, Twisting every single day will keep your spine vibrant and youthful and kind of bring that nourishment to the full squeeze of the lungs. So really, really important, good twisting to do. So I want you to just kind of assess how's your back in this moment. If you feel like, okay, I've done a lot of twisting and my back is feeling it, then you can just do a simple twist cross-legged like this. If you're ready for something a little deeper, let's try the leg crossed over version. Of course, if you want your hips to be engaged with this, you can tuck your foot under. I'm going to do the straight leg version today, but you do you. Always choose your favorite, what's working for your body today. All right, so you can have your left knee up, cross it over to your right knee, over your right leg. And then with your right arm, you can take your forearm and wrap it around your knee. You can take the elbow to the outer knee. That's a deeper twist. You can have your hand on your knee. Always remembering that we're not leveraging our bones for the twist. We're staying with this theme of letting the exhales take us deeper. So you might want to have less leverage. You might want to try with your hand instead of your elbow so that you're not forced into a deeper twist. Okay. Find your breath right onto the center of your sit bones, long spine. Remember these seated twists are the hardest on your spine, so core is active and you're lifting out of your pelvis. Let your exhales and your obliques twist you. One of the things that I think is helpful, if you tend to be a bone on bone pusher in your twists, you can start with your hand and then move to your forearm and then eventually get to your elbow after you're in the twist. So you're not starting there. And then we'll come back to center and switch sides. Whatever you're doing on that first side, repeat it on this side if you can. So maybe you're just doing a simple cross-legged pose. Maybe your foot is tucked next to you. Maybe you're doing an open twist and you're not crossing the leg. Your choice, always your choice. Be on the center of your sit bones. Okay. Lift up through your spine. Use your hand behind you like a kickstand to help you find support. Maybe start the twist with your hand and then deepen it to your elbow if that feels good. Make sure you're moving from the breath. The exhales and the obliques are twisting you, wringing out your vertebrae, your discs, your spine, your lungs, all this good squeeze. Notice your head turn all the way or maybe turn all the way back. Notice your eyes. Notice if you go deeper one side than the other. All right, back to center. Soles of the feet together, a wide Baddha Konasana, so we're not pulling our feet close in, they're far away from us, and we're lengthening our spine to come into a hips and back stretch. So try not to round and fall, but lengthen. Okay, you can always press your elbows into your knees if you'd like. The name of the game here is length, not depth. How's your breath? Come back up whenever you're ready. If you're like, oh, I love this, then just hang out for a couple more breaths. And now as we move towards Shavasana, I'm going to recommend doing a bridge pose on a low block for a moment. kind of get ready for Shavasana if you need warmth or if you need to move things out of the way. Do all that now so that you can transition directly from your bridge to Shavasana. So if you'd like to have support underneath your knees, have that handy close by. And we'll start out putting the block low height across the sacrum. And this is just one more chance for you to reset the body into symmetry. Ground your feet, breathing well. And of course, if there's variations that your body's asking for, you can straighten your legs if that feels necessary or good. You can bring your knees in, you can bring your legs up, you can come into a happy baby in this pose. Whatever choices you're making, make them symmetrical. So try not to do asymmetry in your body at this moment. Breathing. Whatever variations you're working with, sense into your SI joints and your low back kind of falling into ease. And you might find that you just want to stay here. You know, you want to do Shavasana maybe with your legs up or your feet down, but maybe the block feels really good and you just want to stay. And if that's the case, great. And if you're ready to get rid of the block, great. Okay, so take the variation of Shavasana that's going to support your well being. If you're touching things, move it away. If you're cold, put something over you to warm up. Relax your body now. Usually, after twisting, having some support underneath your knees with a rolled blanket or whatever feels good can be a really nice thing. So if you feel like you need a little support, take it. Melt your body. Notice your breath. And very gently start to make your transition first by moving the breath a little deeper. And anything that your body wants. So as you start to move, it could be small movements, could be big movements. Can eventually come to bring your knees into your chest, maybe a little rocking there, or a little happy baby might feel good. We'll slowly, slowly bring ourselves out of Shavasana. Take your time finding your way. And as you come to your side and push yourself up, once you get seated, focus again on that buoyancy. Imagine, floating upward on your discs. Bring yourself into a full breath, both in and out. Bring your hands to your heart. And let's offer the gifts of our practice to another. Send your energy outward. Namaste. Blessings on you all.